Welcome to my channel. Today we will be diving into an amazing Bible story where Joseph reveals himself to his brothers after 20 years of separation. Now, before we dive into the story, please take some time to subscribe so that you will be notified whenever I post new videos. Also, remember to like this video and share it with your friends. Let's get started. The story of Joseph is one of the most interesting stories in the Bible. His life was full of ups and downs, from being hated by his own brothers to being sold into slavery, falsely accused in Egypt, and eventually rising to become the right-hand man of Pharaoh. Through all of this, Joseph remained faithful to God, who ultimately blessed him and his family beyond their wildest dreams. Today we will focus on the moment when Joseph revealed himself to his brothers after 20 long years. The reunion was filled with emotion and had profound implications for the future of Israel. At this point in the narrative, Joseph has risen to the position of viceroy in Egypt. He is second only to Pharaoh, and he has gained the trust and favor of the Egyptian ruler. Meanwhile, back in Canaan, Jacob and his sons are facing a severe famine that has lasted for 7 years. They are desperate for food and have heard that there is plenty of grain in Egypt. However, they are reluctant to go there because of the previous incident when Joseph's brothers had sold him into slavery. Despite their fear, Jacob sends his son Benjamin along with his sons to buy food in Egypt. He warns them not to do anything foolish, or they would pay for it with their lives. When Joseph's brothers arrived in Egypt and presented themselves at the palace, Joseph immediately recognized them, but they did not recognize him. Joseph tested his brothers to see if they had changed and were now worthy of his forgiveness. He pretended to be a local official and gave them a hard time, accusing them of being spies. Joseph kept Benjamin in prison as a hostage, while he sent the other brothers back to Canaan with food. Before letting them go, he planted a cup in their sack with the intention of having them arrested when they tried to leave Egypt with it. His plan worked perfectly, and when the brothers were searched, the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. They were brought back to the palace, where Joseph finally revealed his true identity to them. The brothers were overjoyed and fell down and worshipped him. They confessed that they had treated him badly in the past, but begged for his forgiveness. Joseph forgave them and explained why he had put them through such a difficult test. He told them that he had acted to see if they had repented of their wicked ways. And now he was ready to welcome them back into his life. After revealing himself, Joseph brought his brothers and father Jacob to live with him in Egypt. They lived there for many years, and Jacob lived long enough to see his 12 grandchildren born. This event was a turning point in the history of Israel. It marked the beginning of their stay in Egypt, which would last for many generations. The reunion between Joseph and his brothers also demonstrated the power of forgiveness and the importance of trusting in God's plan. Even though Joseph's brothers had treated him horribly in the past, he forgave them and welcomed them into his life. This showed the world that no matter what we have done in the past, we can always turn our lives around and choose a different path. In addition to the themes of forgiveness and redemption, this story also shows the importance of trusting in God's plan. Even though Joseph's brothers had sold him into slavery, and he had suffered greatly because of their actions, he never lost his faith in God. He knew that God was in control of his life and that everything would work out for the best. In the end, Joseph's trust in God paid off, and he was able to save his family and the nation of Israel from destruction. The reunion between Joseph and his brothers was a joyous occasion, but it was also bittersweet. After 20 long years, they were finally reunited. But they had both changed so much over the years that it was difficult for them to reconnect. Despite the awkwardness and tension, they eventually came to an understanding, and Joseph forgave his brothers for their past behavior. This part of the story shows the complexity of human relationships and the challenges of reconnecting with people from our past. It reminds us that even if we have been separated from our loved ones for a long time, we should never give up hope on reuniting with them. Joseph's brothers had made a terrible mistake in selling him into slavery. But instead of holding on to their guilt and shame, they decided to learn from their mistakes and change their ways. They realized that they had been jealous of Joseph and his special relationship with their father Jacob, and they confessed their sins to him. Jacob forgave them and reminded them that God had a plan for Joseph and that he would one day become the savior of his family. This scene shows the importance of taking responsibility for our actions and making amends for the harm we have caused others. It also reminds us that God is always willing to forgive us and help us make things right. After Joseph revealed himself to his brothers, he wasted no time in putting plans into action to bring his father Jacob and the rest of their family to Egypt. He knew that his father and his family were going through a tough time back in Canaan, and he wanted to take care of them. He didn't want them to suffer anymore, and he felt responsible for their suffering since he was the one who had been sold into slavery all those years ago. So he gathered all his resources and prepared everything needed to transport his family and make sure they would have everything they needed to live comfortably in Egypt. He also made sure to keep his identity a secret from his family until he could personally tell them himself. He didn't want anyone else to reveal his identity to them because he wanted to be the one to give them the good news. Overall, Joseph's decision to reunite with his family and bring them to Egypt was a selfless and generous act. He didn't hesitate to use his resources and influence to help his family, and he was willing to put his own needs aside to make sure they were taken care of. It was a testament to his character and the kind of person he had become over the years. Joseph's decision to reunite with his family and bring them to Egypt was a pivotal moment in the story. It marked the end of his long separation from his loved ones and the beginning of a new chapter in his life. From that point on, he was no longer just Joseph, the slave, or Joseph, the viceroy of Egypt. He was Joseph, the son of Jacob, the brother of Benjamin, and the future patriarch of the nation of Israel. It was a significant moment not only for him, but for his entire family and for the nation of Israel as a whole. As they settled into life in Egypt, Joseph's brothers and family began to prosper. They lived in a land of plenty and were able to raise large families, something they had not been able to do in Canaan. However, despite their newfound prosperity, they never forgot the lessons they had learned during their time in Egypt. They knew that they had only been able to succeed because of Joseph's love and forgiveness, and they were determined to honor his memory by living their lives to the fullest. This part of the story highlights the importance of learning from our experiences and using them to shape our future. Joseph's brothers and family had endured a lot of hardship and suffering, but they had emerged from their experience in Egypt stronger and more resilient than ever before. They carried with them the lessons they had learned and the values they had been taught by Joseph, and they passed those on to their children and grandchildren for generations to come. That's all for today's video. We hope you enjoyed the amazing Bible story about Joseph revealing himself to his brothers after 20 years. Don't forget to subscribe so that you will be notified whenever I post new videos. Also, remember to like this video and share it with your friends. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.